Welcome back to Cybersecurity Unmasked, the podcast from us here at IT BizTech. If you're just joining us, I'm your guide, and as always, I'm here with one of our experts.
Good to be here.
So lately, a big focus for us here at IT BizTech has really been helping small businesses lock down their security. We actually just published a blog post on this very topic.
That's right.
It covers the most common pitfalls we're seeing day in, day out. So think of this chat as us kind of sharing what we're actually dealing with on the front lines.
Yeah, exactly. The real world stuff we see helping businesses, right here in Toronto and further afield too.
It's about giving you, the listener, a clearer picture of what often goes wrong, but more importantly,
What you can actually do about it, practical steps based on what we see working.
Okay, let's dive right in then. That blog post, Top IT Security Mistakes Small Businesses Make and How to Fix Them. It really stems from seeing the same vulnerabilities crop up again and again. And one of the most persistent ones we hear, this idea that, oh, we're too small, hackers won't bother with us. Why is that thinking so risky from our perspective?
Well, it's often not about size. A lot of attacks we see are, automated. They're just scanning for any weakness, any open door.
Like casting a wide net.
Exactly. And small businesses, sometimes because resources are tight, they might unintentionally leave those doors open. So you might feel small, but to an automated scam, you're just another potential target if you're vulnerable.
Okay, so let's start with maybe the most fundamental thing we see, passwords. It sounds so basic, doesn't it?
It really does.
But the number of incredibly weak passwords or passwords reused across tons of sites, it's honestly still pretty alarming when we do client assessments.
Oh, yeah. The classic password 123 pet names. We still find them. Our blog post even calls them out specifically.
And the reused ones are just asking for trouble, right?
Totally. It's like if one service gets breached, maybe a personal email, something seemingly unrelated, and you use that same password for your business banking.
Oof. Yeah, suddenly everything's at risk. We had a case like that recently, didn't we?
We did. A compromised social media password led straight to an attempt on their main business system. Same password.
Wow. So the fix seems simple, strong, unique passwords. But our blog post and our advice generally really hammers home multi-factor authentication, MFA.
Yes.
Why do we push that so hard in our day-to-day work?
Because, honestly, it's such an effective barrier. The blog mentions it can block something like over 99% of bulk phishing attacks.
99%, that's huge.
It is. It's that second layer. Even if someone does get your password, they still need that code from your phone or the authenticator at tap. It stops most attackers cold.
We've seen it save the day countless times, even when the password itself wasn't great.
Definitely.
And for people struggling, remembering all those crazy complex passwords, the blog suggests things like password managers.
Which we highly recommend. Takes the remembering part right out of it.
Or even those longer passphrases like iced coffee on Mondays.2024. Easier to remember, but still strong.
Yeah, those are a great option too. Much better than just fluffy 2024. Find what works for your team. But complexity and uniqueness are key.
Okay, next up, something else we're constantly reminding clients about. Software updates. You know that little pop-up everyone loves to ignore?
Yeah, the remind me tomorrow button.
Exactly. But our blog post calls outdated software, basically hacker heaven, a major way attackers get in. We even flagged the risk of still using things like, say, Windows 7.
Which we still see sometimes, and it's like leaving a known, unlocked back door. Vendors release patches because there's a vulnerability. Ignoring them.
You're just leaving yourself exposed.
Precisely. Cyber criminals actively scan for systems with those known, unpatched flaws. It's low-hanging fruit for them. When we see outdated stuff on a network assessment, that's usually priority number one.
So the blog recommends enabling automatic updates where you can, obviously.
Wherever possible, yeah.
And doing regular IT checkups or audits. For bigger setups, maybe dedicated patch management tools.
Right. And the really crucial point we made in the post, when a vendor officially stops supporting software, end of life.
That's a massive red flag.
Huge. It means no more security updates, period.
Yeah.
Any new flaws found after that date remain open forever. Upgrade immediately. Don't wait. We've seen delays cost businesses dearly.
Okay, moving to another big one, and this involves everyone. Employee training, or the lack thereof. Our blog calls it the human firewall being down.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
We rely on our teams, or clients rely on theirs, But are they really ready to spot, say, a clever phishing email? One click can cause so much damage.
Absolutely. Humans are unfortunately often the entry point. Attackers know this. They use social engineering, phishing. It gets more sophisticated all the time.
We see those clever emails constantly when we're helping clean up after an incident.
And without training, it's easy to fall for them. Leads to credential theft, malware, you name it.
So the fixes in the blog are pretty practical. Things like regular training, maybe quarterly.
Yep, keep it fresh.
And make it engaging. Use real examples of scams you've seen.
Crucial. Generic stuff doesn't stick.
And fostering that culture of, this looks weird. I should ask someone before I click. That ask first idea.
Exactly. It's not about blame. It's about empowerment. Make your team part of the defense. We definitely see fewer successful phishing attempts in companies that take training seriously.
Okay, let's shift gears to something nobody likes thinking about, but we have to. Data loss. The blog paints that scenario. Maybe a ransomware attack hits, files are locked, and you haven't backed up. That question, now what?
It's terrifying, and data is just critical for almost every business now. Losing it can be catastrophic.
Ransomware is the obvious scary one, but it could be a hard drive failing, right? Or even just someone accidentally deleting a crucial folder.
Happens all the time. Hardware fails, people make mistakes. Without a solid backup, you're really stuck, especially with ransomware. Paying the ransom is risky and often doesn't even guarantee you get the data back correctly.
So the blog really stresses that 3-2-1 backup rule. Can you break that down quickly?
Sure. It's simple. 3 copies of your important data on at least 2 different types of media, maybe 1 in the cloud, 1 on a physical drive, and crucially, 1 of those copies stored off-site, physically separate.
Got it. 3 copies, 2 formats, 1 offsite.
That protects you against almost anything: fire, theft, hardware failure, ransomware, encrypting local drives.
And the blog also emphasizes automating backups.
Please automate them. Manual backups get forgotten. It's inevitable.
And testing the restore process regularly. That parachute analogy in the post was great. You need to know it works before you need it.
Absolutely vital. We've seen clients who thought they were backing up diligently, but when disaster struck, the backups were corrupted or unusable because they'd never actually tried restoring from them. Test, test, test.
Okay, network security. The blog talks about the danger of flat networks. What do we mean by that?
Basically, a network where everything can talk to everything else easily. Your reception PC can see the main server, the server can see the guest Wi-Fi device. It's all interconnected.
And the risk there is?
If one device gets compromised, say malware gets onto that reception PC, it can potentially spread everywhere very quickly. Servers, other workstations, the whole network is vulnerable. There are no internal barriers.
Like a fire spreading through an open plan office instead of being contained in one room.
Exactly. So network segmentation, which we push in the blog, is about building those internal walls.
Creating separate zones.
Right. Using firewalls, not just at the edge, but internally too.
Yeah.
Separating guest Wi-Fi completely from the company network, probably putting sensitive financial data on its own isolated segment.
So even if one area is breached, the damage is limited.
That's the goal. Limit the blast radiuses, control traffic flow between segments. And the blog also mentions monitoring network activity.
Watching for anything unusual.
Yeah, like that reception PC suddenly trying to access the finance server.
Yeah.
That shouldn't happen, and monitoring tools can flag it as suspicious, letting us investigate before major damage is done.
Makes sense. Okay, another common one, cloud services. Lots of businesses use Microsoft 365, Google Workspace, things like that. But the blog cautions against assuming the cloud provider handles all the security.
Yeah, that's a frequent misconception we encounter. People think, it's in the cloud, Microsoft, Google handles it.
And they do handle a lot, right? Securing their data centers.
Absolutely. The underlying infrastructure security is top-notch. But how you configure and use their service, that's generally your responsibility. It's called the shared responsibility model.
So things like setting up user permissions correctly, managing who has access.
Exactly. Misconfigured settings are a huge source of cloud breaches we see. Leaving storage buckets open to the public, not enabling MFA on cloud accounts, not removing access when an employee leaves.
These are user errors, essentially, within the cloud environment.
Correct. So the blog stresses reviewing those cloud settings, auditing access regularly, and maybe even using cloud-to-cloud backup.
Backing up your cloud data to another cloud. Why?
Because cloud data isn't totally immune. Accidental deletion happens. Ransomware can sometimes encrypt cloud files if it syncs from an infected machine, and the provider's built-in recovery might not be granular enough. Having a separate backup gives you another layer of safety. The blog's phrase, cloud doesn't mean careless, sums it up well.
Good point.
Yeah.
Okay, last mistake area. What happens if something does go wrong? The blog says most small businesses lack an incident response plan. They're just crossing their fingers.
Pretty much. And when an incident hits malware, a breach, whatever, panic sets in, nobody knows who's supposed to do what, time is wasted, mistakes are made, and the damage gets worse.
Whereas having a plan.
Makes a huge difference. A clear, simple plan outlining steps. Who do you call first? How do you contain the problem? How do you communicate internally and externally? How do you recover? It provides structure in a crisis.
The blog recommends creating a basic plan, identifying roles, having contact info ready, outlining communication steps,
Doesn't need to be 100 pages, just the core steps.
and running drills, like a cyber fire drill.
Yeah, tabletop exercises. Walk through a scenario. What would we actually do if this happened? It helps find gaps in the plan and gets people thinking proactively. Hopefully, you never need it for real.
But you'll be glad you practiced if you do.
Exactly. A calm, planned response minimizes damage significantly compared to chaotic scrambling.
So running through all these points, a theme emerges that's mentioned in the blog and something we see constantly at IT BizTech. The difficulty for small businesses trying to DIY all the security stuff.
It's a lot. The landscape changes constantly,
Yeah.
new threats, new vulnerabilities, new technologies. Trying to run your business and be a full-time cybersecurity expert?
It's tough.
The blog uses that analogy of trying to change a tire while driving.
Yeah, it's just not sustainable or effective for most business owners. Their focus needs to be on their actual business.
Which is where getting professional help comes in, whether it's for a specific project or ongoing support like managed services. Right. Outsourcing to a trusted provider like us allows you to leverage expertise and resources you likely wouldn't have in-house, ensuring these common mistakes are addressed proactively.
It lets owners focus on what they do best. We see that shift make a real difference.
Definitely.
And finally, just to circle back to that first point, the blog tackles that too small to be a target idea head on again at the end.
Because it's so important to dispel that myth. As we said, many attacks are automated. They don't care if you're big or small, they care if you're vulnerable.
If you have an exploitable weakness, you're on the radar.
Pretty much. So the key takeaway from the blog, and from our experience, is that proactive security isn't some optional extra anymore. It's a fundamental necessity for any business operating today.
Okay, so that's a run-through of some of the most common IT security mistakes we see impacting small businesses, straight from our experiences here at IT BizTech and detailed in our latest blog post.
Lots to think about.
But the good news, as the blog really emphasizes, is that every single one of these we talked about, they're fixable.
Absolutely. The important thing is to take action. Don't put it off until something bad happens.
Yeah. So we really hope this deep dive has given you some clear, maybe actionable insights based on the real-world issues we tackle every day. Maybe take a moment after this to think about your own setup.
How are those passwords looking? Are systems getting updated? Does your team know what a phishing email looks like?
If you're not sure where to start, or if you just like some expert help getting things locked down, well, that's what we do here at IT BizTech.
We're here to help.
You can find the blog post we discussed and learn more about how we assist small businesses just like yours every single day over at itbiztech.com.
And yeah, if anything we discussed today sparked a question or you want to talk about your specific situation, just reach out through the website. Always happy to chat.
Great. Thanks for tuning in to Cybersecurity Unmasked. We'll be back with more insights next time.